When I came into this beautiful building just a little while ago, one of the people said, you know, I just got a check, and I have $221 more than I had last year at this time in my envelope. And that's what we were waiting. We were waiting for February. And then we got hit with these corporations giving tremendous bonuses to everybody that Nancy Pelosi called crumbs.
That was President Trump, obviously, at the GOP retreat in West Virginia. We brought you that speech live at the top of the hour. He talked about the effect of his tax reform bill, which is now big legislation. Meanwhile, Americans across the nation are starting to see increases in their paychecks. It's Feb 1st. They're coming. And reportedly, this may be helping Republicans ahead of the midterm elections. At least one poll is backing that claim up. A new Monmouth University survey shows when Americans were asked who they would vote for if the midterms were held today, nearly half would go for Democrats. Nearly half would go for Republicans. That's a big difference from December, when 51% said they would vote for Democrats and only 36% like the Republicans. Here now is Republican South Carolina Senator Tim Scott. Great to see you. I know this is one of your favorite topics, the tax cuts and jobs creation, which you and the president call it that, not necessarily tax reform. The president talking today, tell me what you heard and where we're going forward with the conversation about taxes.
We're really excited about where we are in this country, especially starting this month. Happy February to the 90% of the country's employees that, according to the IRS, will receive more take-home pay. That's what this is really about. It's not about billionaires or millionaires. It's about everyday working folks who are struggling paycheck to paycheck. And we're finally saying February is the month of love, but it's also the month of hope. This is good news for the country.
Well, people love their money, so maybe they go together. Senator Scott, tucked in this tax bill is something that the president sort of maybe hinted at, because he talked about how people of color, Hispanics and African Americans, will see the lowest unemployment right now, and he says recorded ever in history. And I know tucked inside this tax bill is something that really didn't get talked about, but it was your opportunity zones, which target, yes, African Americans and Hispanics, but all people who are struggling in lower income families. How so? And tell us about this, because many people don't even know it's there.
Absolutely. It's called the Investing in Opportunity Act. And what it actually does is it targets poor people, people living in distressed communities. One of the challenges of the opioid debate today is that we need to do a better job of training folks in the rural areas as well as the inner city. We need to focus our attention on bringing healing and restoration to those aspects or parts of our country where hope is dissipated. The Investing in Opportunity Act allows for folks to delay their capital gains tax for up to 7 years to make a long-term investment in those distressed communities. About 50 million Americans live in these distressed communities all over the country. We have a chance, not through a new government program or new bureaucrats, but through private sector infusion of their capital back in these distressed communities, we can see the lives transformed and people breathing new hope because of this legislation. I'm excited about it, and governors all over this country are excited about it because we make the decision-making process local. We take the power out of Washington, and we let the states decide where their need is the greatest in the communities within their states.
And I want to reiterate, that's in the tax legislation right now that just passed. Real quickly, the president said today, if you are going to go forward on Capitol Hill, you will need some Democrats. But if you can't get more Democrats, Americans just need to elect more Republicans. The spirit of the conversation, bipartisan on the Hill, is like what right now?
It's tough. The Congress is polarized, and frankly, the president has stepped up to the plate, and he has said on the most important issue to bring us together, the immigration debate, and specifically DACA, that he is willing to accept these 1.8 million folks, kids, into the American family, and the Democrats are sitting silent and rejecting the president's posture to negotiating. This is a terrible move on the behalf of the Democrats, unless they prefer to have the immigration issue not solved, but as a political football passed back and forth.
Wow, that's a lot of people in limbo. Senator Tim Scott of the great state of South Carolina, great to see you today. Thank you.
Thank you.